Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Down by Contact DBC Football podcast. Here we are today with episode number 21, Legally Drinking. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DBC_football. Check us out on YouTube, DBC Football, or on the web at www.dbcfootball.com. I'm your host, Dylan, and I'm here rejoined by Sir Tom. Tom, the Cowboys fan, welcome back. Fresh off the honeymoon.
Yep.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
Welcome.
That was Bill. Bill, how you doing today?
Greetings and salutations. I'm doing
There it is.
Great. Just
There
good.
it is.
I'm doing all right. Good.
All right. In an effort to streamline the show, everybody knows what happened last week in terms of the scores of the games. We're going to drop that segment. We're not going to recap it. We're going to focus on the future.
Yeah.
We're going to talk positive. We're doing that kind of negativity, especially from the Cowboys fans.
I mean, that has nothing to do with the fact that we are living in the Philadelphia area and our team lost.
Maybe.
Maybe a little.
Maybe. You don't know me. Well, then, let's start the news around the NFL with a fun one. While Zeke Elliott is still allowed to play, the NFL's motion has been blocked, so there will not be a quick ruling on that. It'll likely drag out into the offseason, this coming offseason. He's allowed to play so long as he's not quitting on his own team. Tom, take it away. Give me your insight and analysis on how Zeke Elliott performed this week, putting up 8 total rushing yards against the Denver Broncos.
I mean, it was disgraceful, really. I mean, it was hard to watch.
Burn!
I mean, there were definitely players out there. I mean, it was obviously a blowout. There was players out there that were still trying, though. I mean,
Zeke is not one of those players.
I mean, everybody bags on Dez Bryant, but, I mean, he was kind of working his butt off. He prevented 2 interceptions from happening.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for the most of the game, Zeke just looked like he was only going like 75% at, like, best.
Yeah, I think it's very, very much like what we had with Odell Beckham. As soon as guys realize they can get in his head, if Zeke starts to struggle out of the gate, this is something to keep an eye on as far as teams getting inside of his head and kind of edging him on and kind of shutting him out of the game mentally. Because that is a big part of NFL players' game. We'll see what happens. I mean, but I do want to point out, just kind of toot my own horn here. I feel like I've been talking for a year plus now about what it means for Dak Prescott when he doesn't have a running game. The rookie quarterback Dak Prescott came out to play. When he doesn't have a good running game, his completion percentage drops 12%. Well, it dropped more than 12% this week. So couple that with a good defense, stymie the Cowboys' run game, and Dak Prescott looks more than pedestrian. Can you argue with that, Tom?
I cannot.
All right.
At least not based off this week.
Yeah.
I would say he brought it back around. I would just say if I was in Tom's shoes and I didn't want to concede that point entirely, I will say I concede at least that in this particular game, he looked exactly as you said.
Well, I called pedestrian. That was an overall when Zeke's not in the game,
Right.
Or when he's off his game, which is just the one game. But pedestrian is a compliment for how he played this week. So.
No, I'm not disagreeing with your point that that's how it's going to be generally, or is generally. Just that if I were in Tom's shoes, that's how I would argue against you. Well, not necessarily against you. I just wouldn't give you everything that you're trying to present.
Well, I present the facts here, and one of the hard facts is that Dak Prescott's not an entirely accurate quarterback.
I'll be the first to admit he had a bad game. You can't really go around it.
You can try, but you will fail.
I mean, you can try, but there's no I will fail, so there's really no point.
Wasn't
So
particularly.
might as well just come out and say it.
He wasn't particularly great in the first game either.
Check. All right. A lot of injuries happened this week. We'll run through a couple of them, and we're not going to dwell on the past, but these are going to impact your fantasy teams and likely your favorite teams moving forward. Greg Olsen, tight end of the Carolina Panthers, was off to a bit of a slow start this season, but now it'll be much slower. He has been placed on injury reserve with a foot injury. I believe it's dislocated or fractured.
Broken.
Yeah, fracture in his foot. So he was on crutches even before the game was over. Obviously, he's a top 3 tight end. This is a huge blow to everyone who drafted Greg Olsen in the 3rd or 4th round. Terrible to see for the Panthers, but they have weapons, and Devin Funchess actually received a massive uptick in targets as soon as Greg Olsen went out. So I would keep my eyes on Devin Funchess as a player to watch for the Carolina Panthers offense. I would hold off on going out and getting Ed Dixon. until you see how Cam distributes the targets. I think this will provide an uptick for, like I said, Devin Funchess, but also Christian McCaffrey. Jordy Nelson injured his quad. They're calling it a quad contusion. Left the game Sunday night against Atlanta and did not return. He put up a stinker for your fantasy teams. I know, I'm one of them.
Yep.
0 points. The Nelson injury scares me a bit, but he is day-to-day. I don't think he'll miss more than 1 week. So we'll monitor that and keep an eye on it. In addition to that, Randall Cobb also left the game with a shoulder injury. Now, it's a little unclear as to whether or not he could have returned in that game. But it looks like Cobb is probably a better chance to play this week than Jordy Nelson, at least from what's being reported. Should Cobb and Nelson both be out, obviously Devontae Adams is a major must start if both of them are out. Should one or the other miss, I would still get Devontae Adams in there. The flip side is that if they do both miss time, I would absolutely stream Geronimo Allison for 1 week if you need a wide receiver. Sam Bradford missed the game this week with a knee injury. Always scary with Sam Bradford when he has a knee injury. He's had 2 ACLs on that same knee. They're calling it a bone bruise. Mike Zimmer does not want any of our time or want to give us any information on Bradford. He said it could be 1 week. It could be 6 weeks. Zimmer was just angry. I don't expect Bradford to miss more than 1 more game.
Does he play for the Vikings or the Sixers?
Ooh, man.
Ouch.
Wow.
Was that a little too on?
I'm a Sixers fan. That hurt.
Same.
Excuse me. TJ Watt suffered a groin injury in the Steelers' win and did not return to the game. He said he's day-to-day, week-to-week kind of a deal. I don't expect TJ Watt to miss any games, but it's something to keep an eye on if you have the Steelers' defense, as James Harrison hasn't really done much in limited snaps so far this year, so it could impact that Steelers pass rush. In addition to that, Rob Gronkowski also suffered a groin injury, which does not appear to be serious. I don't expect Gronk to miss any time, but if he does, good luck, because the tight ends, they haven't been aplenty this year. The Jacksonville Jaguars have claimed wide receiver Jalen Strong, who was cut by the Texans. The 2015 third-round pick is currently suspended for the NFL substance abuse policy, but I think he could actually come in and make an impact for the Jags team potentially in the pass game, judging by how poor they looked last week with the loss of Allen Robinson. But I would not go and sign or pick up Jalen Strong off of the waiver wire. Interesting news here out of Miami. Dolphins have suspended linebacker Lawrence Timmons indefinitely. First of all, there's an issue with that. A team cannot suspend a player longer than 4 games. So there's something going on down there in Miami. I mean, he didn't show up for the game. No one really knows what happened. I'm sure that story will leak out over the week. What do you think, Tom? Think they looked okay without Lawrence Timmons?
Yeah, I mean, San Diego has some weapons, and they were able. I think they only held them this.
Who? San Diego.
Or,
what team is that?
Chargers. They. I'm pretty sure they only held it to 17 points, so he
Yeah.
still looked half decent without him. So, plus he's kind of older, so you really don't know how much of a how big of an impact he really would have had.
Yeah, I wonder what the issue is here, but no sense in
I know he
speculating.
just went missing like the day before, went AWOL.
Not a good thing.
Yeah.
Take a quick moment here to talk about the fantasy running back situation. It is difficult. If you're in a more than 10-team league, it's
Jordan
so difficult.
Howard.
Jordan Howard is killing everybody.
0.7 points. I still pulled out the win, though, this week.
Well, since you brought it up, yes, Jordan Howard does, in fact, have a sprained shoulder. If you have Tariq Cohen, play him. He looks like he's going to split time with Jordan Howard, even if he's healthy. And the human joystick, he may end up taking that starting role. He may Langford Jordan Howard. 2 years in a row, Bears fans. Pick a running back and stick with him so we can draft him in fantasy and play him. Don't you know that's what we want to do? But back to what I was saying, I mean, it's so difficult. There's so few bell cows, and there's so many carries going around. It's just so difficult.
Even Lev Bell's
for fantasy.
Not really doing much.
Yeah, Lev Bell.
Top 3 pick on a lot of fantasy drafts.
Yeah, David Johnson out for the year. So it's just so many committees out there.
It's reflective of the fact that it's a passing league.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Now, some fantasy pundits are calling it the rise of the running back, but I would love to see big games out of running backs besides the top few. Kareem Hunt, yeah. So we'll see. That's where PPR really comes into play. I think, like you said, the rise of the passing game.
I mean, it's helpful if you have one that's very skilled in the catching department as well, receiving department.
Absolutely.
So you run more of like a West Coast kind of scheme where You're not just relying
Kareem
on
Hunt?
them being exactly. Not just relying on them hitting foot to the dirt.
Exactly. I mean, we're in a situation where you look around most leagues that are 12 or more teams. I mean, most guys are starting at least one running back who, if 8 points would be a good game for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch.
Because not everybody was out there starting Jalen Richard this week.
Yeah.
A lot of fantasy points on the bench. The Ravens suffered a couple serious injuries. Something in the water in Baltimore. Terrence West has a soft tissue injury. It isn't expected to be serious, but it does look like he may have lost his starting running back job. Obviously, if Buck Allen is on your waiver wire, go get him. I think it's a very smart play. He's a far superior pass catcher. Terrence West may still get the bulk of the carries on first and second down, but I expect Javorius Allen to really take over by midseason, which is especially true because Marshall Yanda has a broken ankle and has been placed on injury reserve, ending his year. And when the best guard in football, arguably, is out for the year, you need somebody out of the backfield catching passes.
Yeah.
They're gonna struggle to run the ball a little bit more.
I think it's 14 players they've had injured.
I mean, they're pretty much second to only the Chargers in the injury department. Every year, it seems like. I think it's the curse of Danny Woodhead. I'm gonna call it that. Cleveland Browns fans. Every time it looks like you have a promising young player, he gets hurt. That's great. Corey Coleman broke his hand. Again. Which is unfortunate for me, as I'm a Corey Coleman sleeper fan here. He went down. Rashard Higgins, Hollywood Higgins, got an uptick in targets. I do like Higgins. If he is on your waiver wire, I'd put in a claim for him. Now, granted, he's Cleveland Brown, so he's not going to put up 15-plus points a week, but I think he could be in that 7 to 12-point range, and then
maybe have
a touchdown type of streamer. Yeah, so good player to get in there on your bye week. Rashard Higgins, Hollywood Higgins, who Calvin Pryor was actually, I believe, it was either Higgins or Ricardo Lewis that Calvin Pryor got in a fight with and got cut.
So you're not high on Kenny Britt?
He was Farley out snapped by Higgins. Higgins played.
Sarcastic.
Oh, all right. Well, fine. Again, the year of the down tight end. Tyler Eifert and Jordan Reed both injured. Tyler Eifert has back and knee issues, continuing a trend. These big, mammoth tight ends that are fast and big and touchdown monsters.
They get hurt.
They get hurt a lot. So Tyler Eifert, he may or may not miss time. If he doesn't show improvement throughout the week, they will rest him this week, which is unfortunate for them as they are getting ready to play Green Bay. Jordan Reed, continuing a long history of injuries already for the Washington Redskins tight end. He has a bruised chest, among other things, including that toe injury. He did come out of the game and not return and was in civilian clothes before the game was over. And one other side note, an injury here, Eric Reed, the safety for the 49ers, who looked phenomenal to start the season and to even start that Seahawks game, completely shutting Russell Wilson down as a spy, will miss multiple weeks with a PCL injury.
Ooh.
So big break, tough break for San Francisco fans.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tom? That's a lot of darn injuries.
It is. I mean, it's just
What are you gonna do?
day in the life of an NFL player.
Who's on your waiver wire targets this week, Tom?
I can't tell you that.
I just gave you some of mine.
Yeah, the only person I really had was Hollywood Higgins. So we don't really have too many other players in our league.
Yeah. When you get in those 16-plus team leagues,
It's hard to find somebody.
it's difficult on that waiver wire. It's hard out here.
I got AK-47 on one of mine.
Andy Dalton's available.
Andy Dalton. Hey, I'll throw this out there since we're talking waiver wire targets. If you need to stream a quarterback or you're looking to upgrade a quarterback, Trevor Siemian, I'd go get him. I don't know. A lot of people are saying that, but Trevor Siemian looked good. Now, again, it was against that crappy Cowboys defense, but 2 weeks in a row, Trevor Siemian. And 2 weeks ago was against the Chargers defense.
I mean, he certainly has talented receivers around him to help elevate his game, maybe match theirs.
Yeah. Now, through 2 weeks, we have a lot of undefeateds and a lot of defeateds. So I will disqualify the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as they're both 1-0. Obviously, the first game was moved to Week 11. But we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, Oakland Raiders, yeah, that's right, 3 from the AFC West, the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Carolina Panthers are all 2-0. if I were to take one of those teams and say who's not for real as a 2-0 team, I am most concerned about the Carolina Panthers. Their offense has looked stagnant at best,
Right.
and I don't expect that trend to continue. And if I were to, on the flip side, say which of these teams do I think could go undefeated, this is not me saying I think they're going to go undefeated, but who could? Looking at these teams, it's a tough one. I'd probably go with Oakland, my preseason Super Bowl pick. What about you, Tom? Who do you like of those 2-0 teams?
I like the Chiefs. I mean, they got a nice little thing going there.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt looks like, he could be the real deal.
The number one wild card in the AFC may need 11 wins this year.
I believe it. Maybe in number 2.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult.
But, I mean, even with the loss of Eric Berry, they still have a very good defense.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, Eric Murray has played very well in his stead.
Yeah.
He did, absolutely.
Yeah. How about you, Bill? Any 2-0 teams jump off the page for you?
I mean, I think we're just going to agree. I mean, you can go back.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland was my Super Bowl pick from the AFC, too. So,
Yeah.
I mean, why
deviate?
Why would I argue with myself?
There you go. There you go. And then as far as the 0-2 teams, we have San Fran, New Orleans, which is a bit surprising for me. The Chicago Bears, the New York Giants, the LA Chargers, which in the last 21 games, I think they've lost, I don't know, something like 17 two-possession or less games. It's ridiculous. The Indianapolis Colts, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, and the New York Jets. Who do I think can go defeated? If you're in a suicide pool, pick the team playing the Jets every week. I think the Jets are a terrible football organization right now, and I don't think they'll win more than 2 games.
They are terrible. It's
Yeah.
not a thought. That's
Anyone
just true.
have anything different to say about the 0-2? Is there a different 0-2 team that we can pick on that looks just awful that may not win a game?
No.
No. I mean,
Are we in consensus with the Jets, though?
Yeah.
yeah, they're,
Nice.
they're
I mean, a couple of the teams, they have kind of upside. You look at the Browns, they could probably pull out a win this week against Indy. You look at,
That's the Toilet Bowl.
Yeah.
The Toilet Bowl.
you
They
look-
should give a trophy for this game.
You look at Indy. Andrew Luck will probably be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they can win a few games with him under center.
The Chargers are much better than 0-2.
They've lost on a
They're
couple
a
last
Young
second
Wei
kicks.
Koo kick away.
Two
Young Wei Koo kicks away from being 2-0.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. One was for overtime.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one was for overtime, but split
could've
the
still-
difference.
yeah.
You know, the Giants look inept on offense, but their defense is still
They can
acceptable.
definitely win a defensive battle one week.
Yeah, the Bears and the 49ers are also pretty sketchy at 0-2. The Hoyer-led Niners have been less than stellar. Shanahan's not off to a great start out there in San Fran.
No, he's now.
So they're just biding their time, waiting for Kirk Cousins.
But the Jets this is just a dark place up there.
Yeah, black cloud.
Just raining over.
They were one of the teams out scouting Josh Allen
Really?
this past week. Yeah, the New York Jets.
How'd he do? I know he had a
Much better.
Bad.
Yeah, he's looked much better after that Week 1 debacle, the game in which the punter missed the punt. So fun stuff. And also other college football news. Sam Darnold looks like the real deal. He had another good game this past week. Stringing together 2 consecutive games. Very solid football.
Will he
and
come out, though?
probably. And I must put a lighter in the air for the Tennessee Volunteers, who lost with 0 seconds left on a Hail Mary, something they did last year to, I believe, Arkansas. And hashtag fire Butch Jones.
I've actually watched it play. It's not even like most of the times you see a Hail Mary, it's just a jump ball.
Yeah.
That guy was wide open.
It was single coverage. Single coverage on a Hail Mary. Why?
He had like
I don't even understand.
He had like 5 yards on the
Yeah.
defender.
Yeah, single coverage on a Hail Mary is the most ridiculous thing. Hashtag fire Butch Jones. So, Vols, keep your head up. You have a great young running back in John Kelly. He looked absolutely stellar again. The skateboarding whiz kid for the Vols. So, my lighter's up for you guys. Well, let's pick it back up. Time for Name That! Exclamation point. I didn't prep you guys this week. I didn't even give you the category on purpose.
Let's say you give us like 5 seconds. So
by design.
By design. This week's Name That! Exclamation point
Name that.
is five categories. Statistical leaders through 2 weeks of the NFL season.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, gonna have some fun. Tom, you bailed last week.
I did.
Honeymoon or something. So Bill's gonna get to go
Allegedly.
first. Also because I want him to win.
He has not expressed that.
Bill.
Dylan.
Through 2 weeks of the 2017 NFL season, I lead the NFL in passing yards. It's a tough one. We need an answer. Give me a name.
Sam Bradford.
He didn't play this week.
I know. I just couldn't think of anyone else.
Couldn't think. Well, the answer.
Do I get to answer it? Or is
All right, fine. I was just going to give it to you. But
Tom Brady?
Tom Brady with 714 yards.
Was that not what I said?
I really thought you would get that one.
Yeah.
Sam Bradford? What just happened? I don't know how I feel about that.
I knew it wasn't Sam Bradford.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I was a little
Yes.
lost in trying to figure out my picks here. So, but now I'm in the
That's
game.
fair. This is a fun question. There are 2 correct answers. If you get one and then Bill gets the second one, it cancels you out.
Okay.
He doesn't get the point, but he cancels your point out.
Okay.
In the 2017 NFL season, through 2 weeks,
Good 2 weeks.
I lead the NFL in pass touchdowns. All right, Tom, we need an answer.
Smith.
Alex Smith is incorrect. Bill, you can steal with either correct answer. There are 2 people who lead the NFL in pass touchdowns with 6 apiece. Name
6
one of them.
apiece? Oh, man, that's a lot, too. So, I mean, it's definitely not Sam Bradford because he didn't get 6 last week. So I'm going to go Trevor Siemian.
Trevor Siemian is in fact correct. He is one of the players with 6 touchdown passes after throwing 4 against the hapless Dallas Cowboys.
So I cancel his point out.
No, you get the point.
Oh, I do?
You get the point. He got it wrong, and you got it right.
Oh, so we're 1-1.
You're 1-1. The other correct answer is Matthew Stafford, with 6 touchdown passes as well.
I was going to say that, too. Can I get 2 points?
I don't think it works like that.
Yeah. Well, it is your game, so you would know.
Bill, back to you.
Word.
In the 2017 NFL season, through 2 weeks, I lead the NFL in rushing attempts.
The NFL in rushing attempts.
That's right.
So I'm going to go with it's a running back.
That's
That's a safe bet.
that is a safe bet.
Word. Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette is close. He's second with 40.
Oh, word.
Tom, can you steal? In the 2017 NFL season, I lead the NFL through 2 weeks in rushing attempts.
I guess C.J. Anderson.
C.J. Anderson is correct with 45 carries.
I got him on one of my teams.
Yeah.
I think I have him in 2 actually.
Oh man, this is a barn burner. Tom,
Yes.
in the 2017 NFL season, through 2 weeks,
Good 2 weeks.
I lead the NFL in targets thrown to. The look of pure terror in Tom's eyes right now. This is a delightful game.
I'm going to guess right here.
Okay.
I'm going to say, I just have the teams up.
I had to check Tom's screen, make sure that he's not cheating.
Just my teams. I'm going to guess Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen is close, but is incorrect. Sir William, can you steal?
You know, I had a player in my head. I just can't put the name to him, and I'm sure it's probably actually still wrong.
That's fair.
Targets, huh?
Targets.
That guy from Minnesota whose name I can't think of.
No.
Okay.
I don't know if you were thinking Thielen or Diggs, but neither of those.
Okay.
He plays for Houston, and his name is DeAndre Hopkins with 29 targets through 2 games.
Yeah, I was thinking of Diggs actually.
Now, Bill, you need to get this one for the push. If you don't get this,
I lose.
Yeah. I believe this is Bill first question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need this. Again, there are 2 correct answers that I will accept. Number 1 and number 2. If you get it right, Tom can cancel out your point by getting the second correct answer.
Right.
In the 2017 NFL season, through 2 weeks, there are only 2 players with over 200 receiving yards. Name one of those 2 players. Now, deep inside, listeners, I truly want Tom to lose this contest.
I won't, because I know both of them.
Ooh. Confident. I like the confidence, Tom.
So do I, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Julio Jones.
Julio Jones is incorrect. Tom.
Antonio Brown.
Who's the other one?
Adam Thielen.
It is. Tom got them both. Can you know how many yards they have?
Antonio's got 244.
That's correct.
Thielen's got, I want to say, 212.
201.
201.
Yeah. That was pretty good, Tom. Tom, you're officially awarded the point, and you were up 2-1 in the contest. Name that! Exclamation point. We like to have a little fun here. So Tom's already thrown out some bold accusations for if he beats me in the picks for the year, shaving the beard off. Now, I'm very much against this. However, I probably would honor it. I'm going to be honest here. Like I feel like, but now that I know that, I feel like I'm going to make Tom's, if he loses, an Eagles tattoo that I'm paying for.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
He was way too confident.
I think that would be.
See, he's
hilarious.
a closet Eagles fan. He's a
Right,
closet
we
Eagles.
were
We were
talking
talking
about
about it
last
on
week.
Sunday.
As long as it's not something that just like says like "Go Eagles." Like if it's something kind of cool looking.
Oh, it's going to be
I'll
the Eagles'
alright.
head with the claw coming through the skin, man.
That'd be pretty cool looking.
That'd be dope.
So I'd be fine with that.
Wow, this is shocking revelation. Cowboys have one bad week, and he's off the bandwagon.
No, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I do need more.
I would never in a million. I would cut my skin off
I
if
need
someone
more
tattooed
ink.
Cowboys on it.
I don't want to get like any star ever in case it gets confused. Like
exactly.
not even like the 7-pointed star from
Game of Thrones.
Would bring that up again.
Yeah, it
See,
doesn't.
what
It doesn't
Or
fit.
like
It's a star.
A Star of David if I was Jewish.
There you go.
What I could
wouldn't do it.
eventually do is just get all 32 teams. Just say like I like NFL.
You can try to save it now, but we know
No,
that
I'm
you're a
just
closet Eagles fan.
Right.
Just join the squad. Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz. We don't have a running
Hey,
game, but
I'm
we're
already
good.
trying to trade Carson Wentz, man.
That'd be a drastic mistake on your part.
So
All right,
we knew that Tom picked up Carson Wentz because he thought the Eagles fans in this area.
I mean, he has a Wentz jersey.
I know, but he's like, listen, he's in a league with a bunch of Eagles fans, clearly, and he's like, oh, they're just going to give me everything for Carson Wentz, and they're like, or not.
I can oversell him.
Right.
I'm just saying, I know one person who's got one pretty crappy quarterback.
I mean, what's his passer rating like? Somewhere like 84 or something right now.
I'm not 100% sure.
It's not very high, but it's not terrible either.
Right, he's no Dak Prescott.
He's got some fantasy points though.
All right, well, let's jump into our picks. So last week, Tom, you were on your honeymoon. You must have been sleeping when you were making those picks, or you had your wife make them for you. Not sexist. My sister doesn't watch football. Tom, you went 9-7.
I did.
Would you like to say any words on the competition now that I've taken a drastic lead?
It happens.
An entire 2-game lead that I have on you.
It happens.
Dylan, who is me, I went 12-4.
Who's I?
And as an added bonus, Bill also beat you and went 11-5.
It happens.
To bring our overalls to, not the clothing, the cumulative score. Tom, you are 20-11, and I am 22-9.
What about me? What's my total?
11-5.
Oh man, just like man.
Unless we give you the 15 losses for the picks you didn't make, then you're just 11-20.
I'm very in the hole. No, I'm not cool. I'm not cool with that. We split the difference and round up and give me 8. Just kidding. I'm not in that competition.
So let's jump into our game picks. I'm gonna run through mine since I'm the leader, and then we'll get to Tom and Bill.
To go back, 80.5 is what Carson Wentz's current quarterback rating is.
There you
Why
go.
don't we just go team by team like they do?
You want to do that?
On NFL Network?
We'll do that.
Be a nice,
So,
cool little thing we get
listeners, make sure you pay attention to mine. I am the leader in the clubhouse. I'll go full Rich Eisen. This is my elbow. This is my rear. I'm in the front. Get used to the view. That's right.
to. Okay.
First up, the Thursday night contest, which probably promises to be yet another snooze fest for Thursday night football. The LA Rams are taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran. I've got LA. No real explanation needed. Tom, what do you like?
Same as you. Go with the Rams.
All right, Bill?
The Rams. The 49ers are just terrible.
We're in consensus. The London game, Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m.
Make sure
Thank
you
you
set
very
your
much.
lineups the day before, or get up
Yeah.
a little early.
So we got early football this week.
I mean, some of us are just awake early anyway.
Exactly.
I'm not.
But it's really exciting. I love the full day of football. But it's the Baltimore Ravens at the London Jaguars. I like the Ravens Tom, who do you have?
Same as you, Ravens.
Yeah.
Defense is too good.
Yeah, call it 3.
Call it 3. Sorry, Jake. All right, get into the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Chicago Bears. Again, these are all really, so far decent teams versus not so decent teams. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anyone feel any differently?
Nope, Pittsburgh all the way.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. Chicago also stinks.
Yeah. Houston at New England. I've got New England. Again, I don't think I need to explain that. I think the last time they played it was like 42-0 or something. Last year with, was that Garoppolo? Or, Jacoby Brissett's win. Anyone have Houston?
Nope.
No.
Bueller. New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a scary trap game for the Eagles, right? The Giants are all getting crapped on. So it's all, Eli Manning is still a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, and their defense is still pretty good. Janoris Jenkins will likely play this week, and he didn't this past week. But I do like the Eagles at home to take that W. Tom?
Right there with you. I was originally picking Giants, but I went with the Eagles.
All right.
Not to go too in depth, but a little bit, so you don't mind?
Sure.
Indulge me a little bit. The Giants, obviously, their offensive line's horrible. Bad place to get tested is against Philadelphia. I personally think we're going to see a little more out of Mac Hollins. Get a little more targets. I would like to anyway. I'm hoping, and I guess I'm going to be optimistic about that. So you're going to see some production out of Mac, some stuff on the outside, a little close. I see Philly all the way. I agree that it's a trap game, that you can get overconfident, but yeah, we're taking the Giants. I don't see it happening any other way.
It's funny that you mentioned Mac Hollins. Torrey Smith now has 3 extremely crucial drops already on the season. And you saw Mac Hollins coming at the end of that game this past week for a reason.
Yeah.
So, Torrey Smith, shape up or ship out.
Yeah,
We'll give you the Miles Austin treatment.
I mean, I don't know that Mac Hollins is that deep threat the way that Torrey Smith is supposed to be, but
yeah. Well, he's a 6'4" freak.
Right.
Freak athlete. So
he can definitely move for his size.
I wouldn't be upset if he saw an uptick in targets. 3-4 targets a game.
Again, I'm optimistic that he's going to.
Dorial Green Beckham was also like a 6'4" freak.
Yes, but Mac
Hollins knows the playbook.
Yeah, and he also catches the ball.
Yeah.
Those are 2 big ones.
Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. Does anybody have the Jets?
Nope.
Moving right along. I really like Jay Cutler this week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Minnesota Vikings. I'm taking Minnesota with the caveat that Sam Bradford plays. Should Bradford not play, I like the Bucs. However, for my picks and for the score, I do take the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm staying with you, Minnesota. If Bradford plays, but
yeah,
I won't change it.
I think we're all in agreement. My thoughts exactly. Pulled them straight out of my head. You jerk.
In the trash/toilet bowl, I like the Colts at home. Brissett. I think Frank Gore has a pretty decent game this week. Bill, care to double down on Cleveland?
I'm going to double
You're
down on
gonna do
Cleveland.
He's going to do it. He took Cleveland last week and failed miserably. Much like I took, I said don't play Kareem Hunt 2 weeks in a row. And
provided that I did better than Tom last week.
That's fair.
I'd be ahead of him.
You'd be tied with me if you just made the right choice and went with Baltimore. I'm just saying. If you didn't pick Cleveland this past week, we would have had the 12-4.
I'm not in the competition though.
It's fair. Tom, who do you like?
I'm also going Cleveland.
Wow, a couple Clevelanders in the toilet bowl. Good for you guys. Denver at Buffalo. I like Denver even on the road. They're a far superior team than this Buffalo Bills team.
Yep.
Anyone feel differently?
I'm going to go with Denver and then, just snicker at Browns in the toilet bowl.
Exactly. Take the Browns to the Super Bowl. New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers. I think this has the makings of a potentially really good divisional matchup. I am going to take the Panthers at home just because that Saints defense, no matter what kind of money they throw at it or try to fix it with, now they've benched Kenny Vaccaro and they're trying to trade him. Von Bell looks like he's going to get some action. I don't know. I like Carolina.
I'm going New Orleans for this one.
NOLA. Avoid that 0-3.
I just feel like even though Saints have a pretty crappy defense, the Panthers just aren't really clicking on offense right now.
I think this is just what the doc ordered for that Panthers offense.
That would make sense. I'm picking New Orleans too.
Okay.
I think the Drew Brees show shows up.
This is my elbow. This is my rear. A la Rich Eisen.
No one likes Rich Eisen.
I love Rich Eisen. That guy's my hero, literally.
Well, that makes one of us.
The Atlanta Falcons at the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go Detroit at home. Bring it home, Detroit. 3-0 in the Motor City. Tom, who do you like?
Detroit's playing really well, but so is Atlanta. I'm going to go with the Falcons.
Can't fault you there.
You got to go with Atlanta.
That's fair. My elbow.
It'll be
this
a
is my
high-scoring
rear.
game, I think.
Should be. Cincinnati. Now we get into the 4 o'clock game. Cincinnati at Green Bay. I'm going to go with Green Bay against Cincinnati. Does anyone feel
Nope. Even without Jordy Nelson, I still think
it's Aaron Rodgers.
Shouldn't even be close. Seattle at Tennessee. I'm going to go with the Titans at home. I think Mariota and the offense of the Titans is clicking right now, and Seattle's offensive line may be rivaling the New York Giants as the worst in football right now.
It's been bad for years.
Yeah. Who do you guys like?
I'm also going to go with the Titans. The Seahawks surprisingly haven't been that great in the rush defense, and that's Tennessee's strength.
Yeah, they let Carlos Hyde get over 100 yards.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with Seattle.
All right, that's fair. Kansas City at the LA Chargers. I'm going to go Kansas City on the road. The Chargers, they can't win close games. I think this could be another close game, and Younghoe Koo is probably going to miss a field goal or get it blocked. Anyone taking the Chargers?
Nope. KC all the way.
I might have forgot to even write that game on here. But
That's fair.
Kansas City.
It's fair. The Sunday night game, Oakland at Washington. Anyone taking the Skins?
Nope.
No. And then the Monday night game, Dallas at Arizona. I am going to go with the Cardinals at home. I think Dak Prescott is going to struggle this week against the Honey Badger. The Honey Badger got going last week late in the game, and I know that Arizona has not been all that great, but with no corners, I expect Larry Fitzgerald to get 10-plus targets this week and make good of them. I mean, he had a missed opportunity for a touchdown this past week. But I really do like Arizona to win this game at home against Dallas. Tom, let me guess who you're taking.
I'm going with the Cowboys. I think a lot of players on that team are pretty pissed at what happened this past week, so they're going to want to show up, especially on
Monday Night Football. Yeah.
So.
Bill?
I think Carson and Fitz just light that secondary up.
Yeah.
You're going to have it could have the makings of a shootout, but I'm going AZ.
Yeah, I like Hassan Reddick to keep Zeke Elliott in check and the Honey Badger to just ruin Dak Prescott's night. Give me the Arizona Cardinals. I'm telling you. All right.
I tells you.
Before we sign off, I want to give you some play 'em or stay 'em at homes. At quarterback, I think this week you can't go wrong with Jay Cutler. Play whatever fantasy players playing against the Jets every single week.
That's how mine were.
I do like, surprisingly, I like Phillip Rivers against the Chiefs, but I think he'll put up a decent stat line, but I think they'll lose. And then I like Derek Carr against the Redskins secondary. I like Marshawn Lynch also against the Redskins. I like Frank Gore at running back to have a good game in the trash bowl or the toilet bowl, whatever you want to call it. And I like Dalvin Cook this week to do some good things at home against the Bucs, even with Quan Alexander and Levante David playing pretty well for Tampa against Chicago. At wide receiver, I would start Emmanuel Sanders. I think Trevor Siemian and Sanders have a real thing going on right now. Good connection. I think Sanders is probably a lock for 8+ targets a week. I like Randall Cobb should he suit up. He's averaged over 9 targets a game through 2 weeks. And I think the trend of Michael Crabtree out-targeting Amari Cooper will continue. I would start Michael Crabtree again. There's no reason not to. He leads the NFL in touchdown receptions through 2 weeks. At tight end, I really like Jack Doyle. I think Jacoby Brissett has made a real connection with Jack Doyle, and I think you'll see, probably 8 to 10 targets for Jack Doyle this week. I like Kobe Fleener. Surprisingly, through 2 weeks, he's kind of been the one to pick up the slack with Willie Snead gone. He has a touchdown in 2 consecutive games, and I like that trend to continue. And last but certainly not least, at the play him at tight end, I like Evan Ingram against Philadelphia. Obviously, Philly struggled this week against the tight end, and Evan Ingram is probably the only consistent option outside of Odell Beckham. So with all the attention shifted to Beckham, I expect Evan Ingram to have another 5, 6, 7, 8 catches. Defense and special teams, I think you should trot out Minnesota, Denver, and Green Bay. And then, who should we stay at home? Deshaun Watson against New England. Now, I bet wrong against a rookie running back against Belichick, but I'm not going to bet wrong on a rookie quarterback starting against Belichick. I'm going to say stay Dak Prescott at home. The Honey Badger's going to wreak havoc. And Kirk Cousins. Oakland's defense isn't all that intimidating, but they did just shut down the New York Jets, the powerhouse.
Cousins hasn't been that impressive.
No, actually, he's been pretty awful through 2 weeks. At running back, who are you going to leave at home? I'm going to leave Paul Perkins at home. A 3-man committee in New York right now. It's kind of ridiculous. All Bengals running backs, just avoid them until they decide to give Joe Mixon the ball full time. This is what they need to do in the first place, and let Giovanni Bernard be the third down back. And then I would also stay, even if Rob Kelly doesn't play, I would stay Samaje P. Ryan at home, he did not look good. Terrible yards per carry. He did get volume, but volume doesn't always equal points. The guy's not getting even 2 yards a carry. Stay him at home. At wide receiver, leave Jeremy Maclin at home. He did score a touchdown in 2 consecutive weeks, but I don't like him to score this week against Jacksonville. I think it'll be a little bit more of a run game for Baltimore. In London, leave Sammy Watkins at home. He clearly doesn't fit this offense. It's kind of scary there. Yeah. Okay. Can't read my own handwriting. It's kind of a problem. Anyhow, I can't read that. At tight end, we're going to leave Jimmy Graham, Julius Thomas, and Charles Clay at home. Charles Clay is going to be a really inconsistent player for you this year. If you're relying on Charles Clay at tight end, and he's a touchdown streamer, you're either rooting for him to get a touchdown or he won't really put up any points. Julius Thomas, I think, kind of a trend. Jay Cutler to the tight end just isn't really a thing. He kind of force-fed the ball to Jarvis Landry and Devontae Parker, which is nice if you have either of those. But I think until Julius Thomas kind of proves that he can be that red zone target for this Miami offense, I would stay him at home. And Jimmy Graham has just been flat-out awful through 2 weeks, which has a lot to do with him staying into block or being off the field so that they can leave someone in who actually can block. And then for defenses, I wouldn't play Houston against New England. It's probably not a good idea. I'm going to leave Carolina at home, which is, probably smart. And I'm actually going to sit my Seattle defense. So, what do you think, Tom?
I actually had a lot of similar sits as you.
Yeah. Any that I didn't mention that for starters or sitters? Anyone you're staying at home or playing that really jump off the page for you?
I'm actually going to say Martellus Bennett as a sit because even with Jordy Nelson's injury, he just doesn't really look like.
Yeah, I think he had 5 targets, even with Jordy and Randall Cobb both off the field. 5 targets. I mean, that's
until he really shows something. I stay him home. Also on the same lines, Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, that's been awful.
Until he shows he can actually contribute.
You have 1 catch for 8 yards or something like that. Brandon Marshall. I drafted him in 2 leagues. Come on, Brandon. And I apologize for not being able to read my own handwriting, but my last wide receiver sit-em was I wanted to get it. Don't put a waiver claim in for Deontay Thompson. As soon as Marcus Wheaton comes back, he's pretty much irrelevant. So everyone who's thinking Deontay Thompson is going to be a reliable receiver for the Chicago Bears, 1, he's a Chicago Bear. 2, like I said, when Marcus Wheaton returns, he loses his snap share.
Unless you're desperate for someone this particular week, which why are you desperate this early?
But you can be, though.
Jordy Nelson got hurt.
Yeah. This is true.
Yeah.
Some people have.
I'm sure someone out there
in every single league in 5 leagues.
1-4 this week in fantasy, and I lost at least 1 starter in every single league. It was brutal. I mean, you could be a guy who loses Jordan Howard and Jordy Nelson in the same game. It could happen. So, what do you think, Tom? What do you think? Who's your lock of the week?
What, like team?
Yeah.
Let me take a gander at.
I feel like we can get some side wagers going here.
So for my lock of the week, I mean you gotta go.
I like how he went Jersey on that.
I'd say Raiders against the Redskins.
I like that. I was going to take that myself. I think I'm in a suicide pool, and I think that's probably my pick for the week.
Or like you said earlier, anybody who's playing the Jets.
Anybody who's playing the Jets, yeah. So Miami Dolphins. Bill, what are you most looking forward to this week in the football season?
Looking forward to? I mean, I got a lock. Not that people are going to agree. I'm going Philly. I'm going Philly.
Going Philly. I like it. You know what? And that leads right into what I'm most looking forward to this week. It's the Eagles' home opener. There's nothing like it.
Booyakasha.
People don't want to play here. We're too rowdy.
We are too rowdy.
They don't like it. Like you,
Even
Cowboys
though apparently
fan.
we've calmed down in the past year or so because we have that quarterback we actually like.
Yeah, that's true.
Allegedly.
That's true.
I think it's just not as rowdy a place as it used to be, or there were just a few things that kind of got blown out of proportion.
Absolutely, the batteries. I mean, everyone talks about the batteries being thrown at Santa.
Yeah, but you're talking about stuff that happened in the 60s. Things that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely excited. I mean, I don't know if I can go up because I know me and you were talking about like possibly going up into the mountains. We had like we had talked about, but I don't know if I can do that when the home opener, because then we'd miss it. And I don't know, like there is a local bar up there that we could possibly watch the game at. But
if you're local to the area, I'm sure you've heard of Xfinity Live. It's a
no, I meant
really
I meant up by the mountains. Yeah,
so,
I mean I presume that if we do actually go up there to tailgate, that like Xfinity is probably where we're gonna head up to.
Yeah, that's the thing. Eagles home opener. Fly Eagles fly, right? So I hope your team wins this week, as long as he's not playing ours. The team. So
0-3 Giants.
So thanks for joining us this week. Obviously, we really appreciate it. Subscribe, share, listen, download, do all that stuff. iTunes and Stitcher. Check us out on the web at www.dbcfootball.com. Instagram and Twitter at DBC_football. On YouTube, DBC Football. And for Tom and Bill, I'm Dylan, the host. Make sure you join us next week for episode 22. Thanks a lot.